And it's not like this movie really helped the Rocky franchise that much, but I think it really would have really hurt the franchise if they did kill him.
I have a question for you. What would happen if Union Kane ran out of nowhere and just started joined in this fight?
Oh God. Then it would have been a real street brawl. He just got everybody flying in. Duke takes off the fur. He's throwing down.
There's just bodies flying everywhere in the air. And you know what's interesting? The stunt coordinator, the guy who did the stunt coordinator, the fight choreography, his name's Bobby Bass. And I don't know if you know this, but in Lethal Weapon in 1987, Bobby Bass. Well, so they introduced jiu-jitsu into like I don't know if you watched Lethal Weapon recently, but Martin Riggs uses jiu-jitsu, and one of the Gracies was there, like the famous Brazilian jiu-jitsu family. But Bobby Bass was also known for his headbutts in cinema, but there's no good headbutts in this fight. You have a guy who is known for making headbutts popular again, because in Lethal Weapon there were some amazing headbutts, and there's no headbutts. Would you want headbutts in this fight, Chris Kelly?
I think that would have added a little bit to it, especially if Rocky did a headbutt. But I think also at the same time, if he did do that, I think that a lot of the crowds would have been like, ooh, that's too much.
Yeah, 'cause to be fair, this was quite a fair fight.
Yes.
There were no eye gouges, Tommy, both these guys had plenty of chances for low blows and eye gouges, but they just delivered gut shots and head punches, I guess. Oh man, there's one part that I love when, so they're trading, and then Tommy, I think, gets the upper hand and just starts. Rocky gets the upper hand, and he just starts delivering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 body shots, and then he delivers more. And then I wrote a note, 73 body shots. I don't think that happened, but the body work, man. That's what I love.
In my notes, I put it the haymakers from hell.
But this one feels like a street fighter. Because, all right, so when I was a bouncer, a lot of movies and a lot of people in their heads, they think that when I get into a fight, man, I'm gonna do a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the guy, and he's gonna be down in 4 seconds. But then most people, they just throw windmills like they're in Holland, and then they get tired in 10 seconds, then they wrestle a little bit, and then eventually one of them quits. So that's what I kind of liked about this fight, is there were ugly moments to it, and it was all over the place. They missed some punches, it traded back and forth. Man, I dug it. I love this. Like, I normally had such a bad taste in my mouth about this movie, but I had fun with this final scene. And listen, a lot of people said Tommy couldn't act, or at the time they hired acting coaches for him, so Tommy Morrison. And this dude was a professional boxer. He was the champ in '93. He won the WBO title. And then he fought against Lennox Lewis. He had fight of the years against all these different boxers. He was a legit guy, man. So it's pretty cool. He was an undefeated actual boxer when he came into this. So I think his physicality looks really well on screen. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he looks really good. And I think it worked with him really well. But I think maybe also at the same time, they could have gone with a better actor. But I don't think they were going with a better actor. They just wanted to have somebody who had the real raw feel of an actual boxer, as opposed to an acting. You want to know something interesting about Lennox Lewis?
Yeah.
His name is actually pronounced Lennox. He just says that he doesn't correct anyone because he realizes that Lennox is the regular pronunciation of it.
Oh, man, I hung out with him for years, and that's all I said. No, I'm joking.
I listened to a podcast with him, and everyone kept calling him Lennox, and he goes, actually, my name is pronounced Lennox. And he's like, I just don't correct anyone because, I know what my name is.
I love it. He doesn't care. He has nothing to prove. I mean, he's one of the best. I don't know if you know, I used to just watch all this boxing, man, back in the day around this. Lennox Lewis and all those guys. I used to be obsessed with their fights. So I knew about Tommy Davison. I guess I never associated him with Rocky V for some reason. It's so weird. But I guess they kind of give him the default yelling a lot. I love the scene when he drives away from Rocky's house and we were supposed to be brothers, and he speeds away.
Yeah, the top is down on Christmas in Philly.
Oh, I love it. And
something tells me that wouldn't really work out.
Now, Rocky does assault George Washington Duke at the end. And George Washington Duke has every right to sue. And Rocky could even go to jail. He's a professional boxer. Yeah, he's a professional boxer who strikes a man. Like that, they could have done Rocky VI in jail and made it undisputed.
Yeah, he punches him right in the gut, and he flies up in the air, very much like in a Friday fashion, and lands on the back of a car. He looks like he's been knocked out too, because he does the big deep breath, and then he's like, ugh.
And then Rocky goes, sue for what? Well, I'm gonna sue you for assault.
And I could have concussion, a couple of broken ribs, probably. Well, at least he got a blessing from the priest. I mean, I love it when he does that.
All right, Chris Kelly. We've talked 5 Rocky fights. Rank them.
Well, now that I'm looking back, I think my answers have probably changed. But I'm going to say Rocky 1 is my favorite. No, you know what? I'm going to stick. Rocky 4 is my favorite. Rocky 1 is number 2. Rocky 2 is number 2 is number 3. Number 3 would be number 4, and then 5 would be 5.
I love it. Oh man, what am I going to do, Chris Kelly?
Let's see. You've been pretty strong with picking with the original Rocky being your favorite.
1, 4, 2, 5, 3.
3 is your last?
Clubber Lang? Yeah.
Yeah, come on, man.
That's a short fight.
Oh, man, they're all short. This one was barely 7 minutes.
I mean, but like 12 rounds.
That's including the sue me for what line.
Hey, listen, Chris Kelly, I don't want your life, okay? I don't want to get yelled at for my rankings. This is a safe place. We talk about fights here. We don't actually fight, Chris Kelly.
This is the fight podcast, okay? No fighting. Yeah. No brawling.
There's no war. There's no fighting in the war room from Dr. Strangelove.
I love that line.
I mean, just the way it starts, the momentum swings, the weird trips, the way Rocky uses the environment to the crowd, to the camera. I mean, this is a fun fight. I dig it. And I think they did just enough with the montages and the blood and the coffin and the tracksuits and the slow motion and the raging bull. The fight is, I don't know, man. I can't think of too many more. This is a fun one. I'm glad we talked about this. And I don't know if it gets enough credit.
I don't think his tracksuit with his name on the back gets enough credit, to be honest with you. And I missed that whole craze with people wearing tracksuits with their names printed on. And I wish that would come back. That's one of the part of the 90s, which I hope does make a comeback.
And I love how they were rolling around in one scene, because every street fight I've ever watched, there's rolling around. It just happens.
Yeah, eventually you're going to fall down, and then you're going to have to start wailing on each other. One person's going to get the upper hand, or the other person gets the upper hand, or the one allows the other one to get the upper hand to get the upper hand, and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, you know what's fun? This isn't funny, but when I was younger, I witnessed a street fight, and the guys were rolling around, and I think they were playing by the rules, but one of the dudes just, like, when they were rolling around, just grabbed the other guys, like just grabbed him right in the dick, and everybody in the everybody in the crowd went, no, like, ew, come on, man, like like even his friends were yelling at him. So like, I guess that's good that that Rocky didn't headbutt him, because everyone had been like, that's too much. But I remember that, and everyone just kind of booed the fight.
That's one way to win the fight. I'll give you that.
Oh no, the guy started yelling, but people just kind of like, oh man, that's cheap. Like, that's not. Come on.
Yeah, it's certain things like that. In the rules of fighting, there are certain rules, and it is like the cheap shots, like when the guy has his back turned and then the other guy wallops him. That's always frowned upon, because it's not a fair hit. And then you're like, boo. And then the guy, well, if he does win, who did that, no one thinks of him as as doing a good job. They're like, yeah, but you punched the guy in the back, or you kicked him in the groin, and that never works.
You use the catapult, man.
You jumped on a trampoline, then.
All right. So, what's your favorite part of this fight? What's the thing you love the most before we get out of here?
I love when Tommy Gunn charges Rocky and they bust through that grate. I love that. That's a really good shot. I like that so much, because it really it brings that from a closed-in area like a ring and pushes it into a street, which would be a more open area. And you really, at that point, you really don't know what could happen next, because now they are no longer in the safety of this box, which I liked a lot.
I just love the thud after they bust through that grate.
Listen to it again with the bass cranked up. It's like boom.
I love it when I watch a movie and I'm like, yeah, whoever fell got hurt. I have felt that with that.
You really felt it with these guys too, because it's not like they're really wearing protective clothing at all. I mean, but they are obviously wearing pads and everything, but it looks like these guys got messed up a little bit.
Oh, I love it. It makes me happy. Oh, it was perfect.
Only in America.
Only in America. I'm going to sue you. Well, he's legit going to sue him. So on our next final fights, we'll talk about the lawsuit battle in court. The way those lawyers duel, Chris Kelly.
And then the lawyers take it out. They're like, well, my courtroom's in the streets.
The lawyers start fighting? Oh, man. Oh, man.
The courtroom turns into an all-out brawl.
I'm going to give you a 2.
All of a sudden, a piano gets pushed into the courtroom, and some guys just start playing some Playing some honky tonk music.
Just the benches in the back just go flying. Papers everywhere.
Exile on Main Street just gets turned on the soundtrack from somewhere out of nowhere. Rip This Joint is blaring in the background.
Water spraying from the water fountains like inside.
The judge throws his gavel, hits Rocky.
What do you do that, Judge?
Court's adjourned.
Clunk. Oh, whoa. I didn't see that coming.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. All right, cool. Well, hey, man, this was fun. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. I'm looking forward to talking about Rocky Balboa.
Oh, hey, do you want to promote your podcast real quick before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'd love to. My podcast is called Classic American Movies. I do a podcast with my girlfriend, Miriam, and I introduce her to various different types of films, and we do deep research on all of them. And we discuss the background of the movie, as well as talking about the history of the actors and the crew involved. And it's a learning experience, basically. A lot of my friends and people have sent me emails and messages saying that what they enjoy the most about it is that they actually learn a lot from listening to the podcast. So it's not just us having a good time and me showing a movie to my girlfriend. It's educational as well. It's called Classic American Movies. It can be found just about anywhere you can find your pods. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher. And also to go with Classic American Movies, I have Cult Classics with Chris, where I actually reach out to those involved in making of cult classic films to interview them about the making of their film. Those seem to be a really big hit. A lot of audiences seem to be responding positively to that. So far, I've interviewed I've interviewed the co-director of Out Cold. I've done the guys that did Blood Car, Liquid Sky, and they seem to be catching on really well. So just go ahead and check it out, guys. I had a lot of fun making them, and I'm getting a lot of positive responses from them.
Listen to the Way of the Gun episode.
Oh man, that was a lot of folks really enjoyed that one as well. That was a big hit as well.
Cool. Well, listen to that. Enjoy Chris's podcast and listen to more Final Fight. For me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Chris Kelly, this is Final Fights. We'll see you next week.